call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilman Martin Lewis.
First, giving honor to God. His Son, Jesus Christ, is truly the head of our life, my life. Father God, we come in the name of Jesus just to say thank you for allowing us to meet again on your terms, not ours. Equipped us with the mind to do the work of our citizens, Lord God. Father God, keep on our mind the fact that equality is all we want. Equality is all we need, Lord God. And in the words of the great JFK, think not what you want your country to do for you, but what you can do for your country, Lord God. Father God, we pray for the sick, Lord God, those that are suffering with COVID right now. We pray for the families that have lost those from COVID, Lord God. We pray for the families that have lost their loved ones from gun violence in our communities and all communities around the country and around the world, Lord God. We ask that you touch us, Lord God, that we may be in comfort and in peace, Lord God, as we continue to do your work, Lord God. Bless each and every council member in this meeting tonight, board members, and all people that are involved in our community, so that we can do your work, Lord God, and that we may always remember that we're doing your work and not our work. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray, amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard. Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. At this time, I ask you to please put your phones on vibrate, and remember there's no back and forth. We just listen. Madam Clerk, Councilman Cordes. Good.
Public comment. The first is Michael Bell to discuss agenda item number 4A.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, 4A, it's community policing. I live in the West End area, and community policing can mean a lot of things. But I'm hoping and praying it means that police department hopefully can put a division or precinct in that area where things are bad, where elderly people are afraid to come out. It's not that the people are bad in the community, it's just a few that makes it bad and gives the whole community a bad name. I was fortunate to work in the police department in San Francisco, and if something like that can work in a city like San Francisco, why can't it work in a city like New Iberia? What we did was put a precinct in the area. Policemen got to know the children in the community, got to know the elderly people in the community. That way, the police department felt free to express themselves to the children and to the elderly in the neighborhood, and vice versa. It's a win-win situation. Sometimes you have to get out of the cars and walk the neighborhood to make things right. We all know being a policeman is not the easiest job in the world, but it's a job that needs the citizen to work with them and the police department to work with them as well. And the city council truly have to get together and solve that problem in the West End. We don't realize you have one of the largest populations in the West End area. You have wonderful people, you have beautiful property, where we can expand businesses, clothing, grocery stores, and things like that. We don't need any more liquor stores and alcohol in our community. We don't need that anymore. I'm speaking as a citizen. I can afford, thank God, to live anywhere I choose. But I choose to live in the West End. I was born and raised with a mother and father with 11 children that raised us in the right way, and we grew up in the West End. You have prosperous people that grew up in the West End simply because we had good law enforcement. And we have to stop the loitering. That's what it means to me when you talk about police, community policing. We have to have the police department to get to know the people in the community. We know that the police department can't do it alone. Not at all. But they darn sure can do it with the help of the people in the community. Hey, have little things for the kids in the community. Let kids know that the police department is not the bad guy. We're trying to get the bad guys off the street, where our elderly, where our young kids can walk the street, don't have to worry about crime, don't have to worry about violence. So that's what I want to know. I hope at the end they can answer that. And we definitely need police to be visible. Not just ride when things happen, but definitely be visible all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next is Richard Phillips to discuss agenda item numbers 4G, H, I, and J.
Just as a review, welcome. Hello.
Hey.
I never did practice architecture, but I did issue building permits for an inspection and code enforcement. I have a degree in architecture and in business. And when I see 4 projects going to the same architect, I question if the city is leveraging the funds that it has available, unless this person won 4 low bids and was successful in obtaining this business. I, as a taxpayer, have to question how such a situation occurs. And I don't believe this is the first time I've observed this gentleman's name as somebody who receives the city's projects. I'm just questioning, that's all.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Item 2.
Acceptance of the minutes of August 3rd, 2021, as published on August 13th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Whoa. Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. I think you won the second. Councilman Dustin Swear. Is there any comment on our last meeting's minutes? Hearing, seeing none, please vote your machines.
Hey, give up. Give up.
I'm gonna let you win this time.
I got you, Liz. You're just too quick.
Item 3.
Persons to address the council, Ms. Phoebe Hayes to address the council and discuss children's educational program that teaches the history of New Iberia to students.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to attempt to speak with this mask on,
It's fine.
but if you all cannot hear me, understand me, please just tell me to bring it down. First, I want to thank everyone, thank the mayor, thank the council for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about something that's near and dear, as most of you know, to my heart, which is telling the true and inclusive history of Iberia Parish. What does that mean? Making sure that that history includes the contributions of African Americans who lived here, who built this community, who died here, and whose descendants are still here. There are many contributions. And one of the frustrations that I've had in trying to get this information, I've been very successful, I think. The Iberia African American Historical Society has been very successful in sharing this information with the adults in the community. But it's the children, as Mr. Bell was talking about the children on the West End, it's the children in this parish who need to be aware, and I have to do this, who need to be aware of the history of this great parish, the contributions of the African Americans. I've often wondered, why is it that children, especially during the National Black History Month, February, they know so much about our national heroes, Dr. King, Sojourner Truth, Malcolm X, but they know nothing about those people who are local heroes who built this community. Carlos J. Vital, first black physician in Iberia Parish. Not Dr. Emma Wakefield, that was his cousin. But Carlos was the first black African-American physician in Iberia from Lauraville. His sister-in-law was the first black woman physician to practice medicine here. Adolph Wakefield Most of you know that from conversations I've had, that he was our first black clerk of court. He also was a Spanish-American war hero, right up there with Teddy Roosevelt, who gave credit to his regiment, the 9th Regiment, United States Colored Infantry, who served in Cuba and helped to secure San Juan Hill, even before Teddy Roosevelt got there with the Rough Riders. A lot of the history has been hidden or forgotten. And I want the children who are here to understand that history. So I had an idea that sparked this project. Crystal Beyonce contacted me about teaching or presenting a workshop for the children in Iberia who participate in the Parks and Recreation program. Now, my organization had already been active in the arts program that Crystal and Heather have been holding every year in February. But this is a little bit more. So what I decided to do, based on my conversations with these two ladies, is to combine history with art, as we tend to do anyway with our adult programs. So what we are proposing to do is to apply for a grant through the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. It's one of their community grants, and the grant would fund a program in 2022. Let us pray that COVID is over. The grant would occur across 6 weeks, across 3 phases. Phase 1 would involve the children being taught the history, so it would be introduction and instruction, and I'll be the one doing the teaching and providing the instructional material that's age appropriate. And of course, the children are going to come from Iberia schools, public and private. And so they will be instructed in the contributions of African Americans in Iberia, historically. The second phase will occur across the next 5 weeks, between 1 and 2 sessions a week, depending on how long the children's attention span lasts. We will be hiring 3 art teachers who are very successful at teaching children, professional artists. And some of them, one at least has been even heavily recommended by some of our prominent art teachers here in Iberia. So the children will have professional art teachers teaching them the techniques that's involved in art, but also teaching them in helping or guiding them to select their historic person or site. And then in the final week, they will have an exhibition in a gallery style where their artwork, paintings, sketches, drawings will be framed and hung. And the children will prepare short write-ups about the person or site that their art features. And they will make an oral presentation to the public. So that brings us to money. We are requesting that the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation grant us $5,000 and all of the money goes to the payment of the teachers, the teachers' fees. And the contributions, Iberia African American Historical Society, everything is free because this is our mission, is to make sure that we get as much of this information out to the community as possible. So I will be teaching the classes that first week and preparing the materials. The next 5 weeks, as I stated, is going to involve the children going through direct instruction with the art teachers. The final session of the final week will involve the exhibition and the children showing off their art. We are asking the council, the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation Board requires a match. So for every $1 that we request, they require $1. So we're requesting $5,000, and we're asking the council to provide the additional $5,000. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
It sounds like a great program.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
I was just saying, it sounds like a great program.
If we get it, I'm very encouraged. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes,
My
sir.
question is, you're applying for the grant, and then you have to have the match available if you get it? Or you
The
have to have the
match,
match first?
we have to commit to the, if, when they award it, well, first of all, it had to be in the budget, that we already have the match. Doesn't mean that you all are gonna give it to us, but it has to be in the budget. And if it's not, then we'll have to pull the grant. Yeah.
And what's the timeline on this?
17th, I think. Today?
Today?
Yeah.
You need to know today?
The deadline is today?
The submission deadline is today.
Today is the 17th.
Okay,
The grant's already done,
okay,
yeah. And we'll just pull it if you all say no.
okay. All right. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming all the facilitation and teaching is gonna happen in the city park, or you have a facility to hold it?
That wherever the
It's
city
it's a
tells us we
partnership.
I didn't
can,
know,
we
I'm
can
asking.
have this, we can hold this, is where we'll hold it.
Okay.
Which might be the park, which might be the Slyman for the
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
exhibition, that kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
It is something, anybody else?
Good.
This is a project that I knew about. I didn't know the deadline was today, okay?
It was actually the 6th.
I would have
but they
approached it a
extended.
little differently, okay? I thought we had more time. But this is a project that we are doing in conjunction with Phoebe's organization and our park. So it's very much our project to begin with. We're using all of our facilities. I thought maybe the exhibition would be at the Slyman. We do partnerships on things like this and cooperative endeavor agreements where we work with groups. When Phoebe contacted me about it, I thought it was a very worthwhile project. It fits with the mission of our city and with the mission of many of the programs and things that we have been doing. What I thought was we were going to discuss it tonight, and then I thought I had more time, and then I would have brought it back as a resolution with a dollar amount and everything at the next meeting. I didn't realize, you know, because I kind of had it as a discussion item. I didn't realize we had to take action tonight. But
The other thing is.
Yes, ma'am.
This project will be totally managed by the city. I need to assure you all.
No.
My organization would not be managing the funds.
Correct. No, it is
Jane
a
would be
city
taking
project.
ca- it's a city-
Jane, when Miss Phoebe came up with the idea, she got with Jane. Jane wrote the grant, or Miss
Well-
Phoebe wrote it, and then Jane submitted it. This is probably the better way to put it. But the mechanics of it would be like any other grant that we receive. The money's administered through Jane's office and through the city, and
You will
follows
pay the teachers.
right, and follows all of the protocol because we get audited. And her organization was not up for all of that. So but it's a true partnership. So now that you kind of know what we're trying to do, is there any other discussion?
Oh, I have a question. I mean, just kind of random. What age group are you going after?
Yep, well, what I stated in the grant is elementary to high school.
Oh, okay.
So, and we'll group the children that way. The
Oh,
younger
okay.
children will be with one teacher, middle, and so on.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure. Jeff?
Yes.
Does the council need to allocate the money tonight?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think we just, no, I think
I
we
don't
just
think
vote,
so.
if we do vote on anything, we would vote to participate in the project. But I can't allocate the money tonight. And it's not needed tonight, because if they don't get the grant, they just need to know they will have a match if the grant goes through.
That's
Which
right.
gives me time to follow our right procedure and bring it back in a resolution and follow, you know, the right steps. Like I said, this is a little rushed, but
Right.
all I think we need tonight is just that we would be in support of this so they can let the grant go through. And
Because
they don't have
otherwise
to
I'll
pull
pull
the,
it.
otherwise she'll pull it
Yeah,
because, you know,
'cause
we
don't
wouldn't
have
be
the
supporting.
commitment. Yeah, and I can't submit something on behalf of the city.
Yeah, if you don't have a
there's
match,
no-
if the city's not giving you a
Well, if the
match.
city says that's not something we want to do right
Exactly,
now.
exactly. And like I said, I thought we had a little more time on this.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
what you need from the council, what does, Ms. Phoebe and Mayor,
What
does
we would end up doing is
council tonight?
somebody would offer a resolution of support for this project. We would just vote on that tonight, because I don't think it's fair to talk about money or anything until we follow the right procedure. But we know that if we do a
That's fine.
resolution of support, we're supporting the project. That means we're gonna come back with a resolution the right way to put up the $5,000. But tonight, since it's a little rush deal, it would just be someone would make a resolution and we would vote on that to, are we willing to support this if they get the grant to move forward with this project that Ms. Phoebe and our recreation department is putting together?
So the other Would that take amending the agenda tonight?
Yeah, we would vote to expand the agenda.
Thank you.
Remember, you expand the agenda by unanimous vote, so we would expand the agenda if everybody agrees, and then we would be able to proceed with a motion. So that's kind of where we are.
Okay.
And we would expand it at the end of the agenda,
During resolutions.
during resolutions, okay.
Can't do it now.
Gotcha.
It would be improper to do it now,
I
Jeff?
don't know why you couldn't do it.
I think you could just
don't
do
think
it
you
and
could.
knock it out.
Oh, I mean,
I think if you're gonna expand it, you put it in where you want to.
I think so too. We have in the past.
So
That's
you
what,
need
you
a
know,
motion to expand, and a second, and a vote.
I have a motion on the floor. Okay. do I
That's
have-
second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second, Councilman Swear and Councilman Lewis. That's a motion to expand the agenda.
roll call.
All right, then, sir?
Okay.
Then, I would ask you to vote your machines. We have a motion to expand the agenda.
Okay, so now it's on the agenda.
That's right.
So now you need a motion to
Now
approve.
I need a motion to move. What we doing? Why are we expanding the agenda? Somebody needs to make a motion.
Motion,
What's she?
I'd like to make,
make a motion make a motion of resolution in support of the grant and the program for our
a
youth
second.
in the Iberia, sponsored and partnered by the Iberia, African American History Federation and the city of New Iberia.
Okay,
Support them.
all right, so I have a motion on the floor and Dee is the
Second.
second. Okay, so
Call
I
for
have a
unanimous
motion
second. Call
and
for
a second.
unanimous second.
I don't think we have to do that.
Okay, okay. That's fine.
So I have a motion, sorry, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Oh, oh, she's very right.
I just wanted to make sure the correct name of the organization
Yes, ma'am.
is in, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Okay, well, we have a partnership. Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do. And Heather and Crystal, thank you y'all, because this is a good program.
Putting us on the spot.
Yeah. Madam Clerk, we move on to 4A.
Resolution 2183, in support of proposed allocation of American Rescue Act funds to be received by the city of New Iberia.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the Mayor Pro Tem, Ricky Gonsalas, second by Councilman Swear. Okay, I would like to quickly go through these items, if that's okay, and then after that, we can open it up to any discussion, if that's what the council wishes.
This one quickly.
I'm gonna follow the large sheet. That's kinda has it all in your packet. And what we're doing is trying to prioritize our American Rescue Plan projects. It's very early. I know that some of these could be amended, and I'll come back to you if they are gonna be amended. We don't even have exactly all the parameters. We have been studying with the help of my clerk, and so Aaron and I have been going through and making sure that all these projects have a way to fit what the parameters are of the program. We're just gonna go through them real quick. Some of them are not fleshed out, but remember, we have 4 years. We will get 2 checks from the 9.4, so that's gonna be spread out over 4 years. And then we have a drainage package that won't be submitted till January, and we have a sewer package that the portal is open now and will be submitted. And one of the reasons, there's so much legwork to do behind the scenes to make this all work, and it's a lot of projects. The other thing is, we're about to start budget time. I'll be bringing a budget for adoption at the end of September. We'll start having budget meetings in September. We'll adopt our next year's budget at the first meeting in October. I don't want overlap. In other words, some of these projects that maybe would have been in our budget are now going to come through this program. So it's really wise to look at all of our money and all of our opportunities. And tonight is about an opportunity, to have the opportunity to talk about $20 million that you don't have to pay back. You know, we came off of the meeting last time that we're floating a bond for 12.5 for roads. We're taking some steps to do the Pepperplex, which is about $3 million. To be able to do this and make this impact in our community and not borrow this money, okay, is just a real blessing. So, first one is blighted, adjudicated property development. We're gonna use the Title I block at a time. We've allocated $1 million. That money will be a voucher program. We will renovate existing houses, only houses that people own. We're not working on tenant property or rental property, and there's going to be a lot of parameters. That is one that I'm telling you already, we are going to try to find a consultant, find a company to help us with that. If you do, $15,000 a house, you're helping 66 families. That's a whole lot of transactions. So that is one that will do immediate good in our community to deserving people who need this help. But that's one that we are going to flesh out. It won't happen immediately. It will take the whole 4 years. The next one, irrigate sprinkler system. That building serves as our shelter. Our firemen have to stay there 24 hours because we don't have a sprinkler system. Our occupancy level is very limited because we don't have a sprinkler system, and we've had to reduce it because we are not in compliance with the building. So this will allow us for our shelter. It could be a vaccination center. There's all kind of things that we could be doing there because it's one of the largest buildings that the city has that you can hold 700-800 people, but it needs a sprinkler system. Cliff Oakland building improvements. We're going to replace the aged generator there. That's where our police operate, CID. That's also where our new training centers come in, and we have a bunch of community uses that will happen with that training center. We propose a new pool at the Pepperplex. We have had some good discussions about that, and it moved. We behind the scenes, this council really communicates. We had some other ideas, and they didn't fly. We think that at the Pepperplex, we're about to spend $3 million and really make that our flagship. We feel that we could do that there and pick up the amenities that are already there. The all-in water separator, MS4 that we're going to talk about tonight, we are mandated. We have many requirements, and that's one of them, that we upgrade or build a all-in water separator. Citywide litter program. If we're going to promote this place, we have to try to clean it up. We have $150,000 to raise awareness on litter and to do some litter abatement and just to, in general, educate people. Recreation Department, youth transportation. If we're going to put some things at the Pepperplex, we got to have a way to get people to the Pepperplex. We don't have this one totally fleshed out. We have a couple of options. We could drive between Martin Luther King, Sear Gates, and the Pepperplex, and we have to figure out. If you're a 5-year-old, you're not getting on our bus by yourself, okay? You'd have to go with a parent. We might do it like that. We might only do it for certain events so that we know that the 14 or 15-year-old who got on the bus for the program got back on the bus at the time the program was ended. I mean, it is going to be some accountability to do this, but I think the impact it could have is really good. We thought about a hop-on, hop-off that it ran for certain hours, but again, we'll have to be very restrictive because you can't lose somebody's child, okay? I do know that the city has had experience, and look, Shudu shaking his head, he's with the school board. He understands buses, okay? Heather's had experience with this, that when there used to be the mayor's after-school program, a van went around and brought kids. Heather told me stories of going door to door to hustle kids to do programming. So I think this could be good. We are just going to have to slow down enough. Other communities have done this, and just figure out how we can do this safely and efficiently. Upgrading lighting our parks. We constantly have, areas that need upgrades in all of our parks. Boys and Girls Club, we're partnering with them at Martin Luther King. On the teen side, this would give us some money to speed that up and help them get in the facility and start helping kids. Various parks. Many of the small parks, we have some money set aside, about $400,000, to go to the smaller parks and make some improvements. This is a big one. We have $900,000 to do new sidewalks and ADA improvements on sidewalks. The city, since I've been here, we never put new sidewalks. It is a rarity that we put a new sidewalk. The only new sidewalk we put was on Parkview. And it's well used. When we put it in, people were all upset about it, okay? That was a crazy deal. But the people on the council at the time pushed for that. This will be through all the districts, and what we'll do is take our time, allocate for each district, and this is something we're just going to have to communicate on because we only have so much money. But I know every district, will get sidewalks. We just have to spread it out and, work a system through that. Love to build a new warehouse. Every one of our departments is choking, and when COVID is receding, we're choking on PPE. We have equipment we've bought. We're buying new equipment with some of this money that I don't want to leave in the weather. We have generators. We have barricades. As we're stocking up for all of our emergency response, including COVID, we really would like to have a place that every department could store all of that already it's become a problem that when it kind of slacked off and the regulations went down, people running around everywhere that we stuck stuff. So it would be nice to have a common warehouse. And most cities have that. Public restroom, stage, and steamboat pavilion. This whole package has a huge piece for tourism, for bringing back tourism, for the economic impact that tourism brings to every community, and it's one of the big parts of this American Rescue Plan. This would allow us to put new bathrooms in the parking area behind the steamboat pavilion, and then build a little bridge from the steamboat pavilion to be simple and put a stage on top of the roof. So what that does, it doubles the size of our steamboat pavilion. We can stretch out for social distancing, or once this goes away, when you put the stage, you could double the occupancy because the stage is really big, and now the stage would be over the bathroom. We are heading toward doing some downtown alives. We've been talking about that. Every fair, every festival, so many people use and utilize that facility. This would kind of be the icing on the cake, and it would put enough bathrooms for the marina, enough that we already have committed to, enough bathrooms back for the steamboat. We're doing that new little visitor center out of our existing bathroom, knowing that we needed to have some bathroom, in the future. And we can design this one so that it can be locked easily, can be cleaned easily, doesn't have all those cubbies and areas that the existing one does, that we've had some problems with people camping there, let's say. Our next issue, ladder truck for the fire department. A ladder truck is $850,000. This council, in its wisdom, put about $1 million up, and we floated a bond and bought 2 fire trucks. We can't float another bond for a ladder truck. Our hospitals are multi-story. We have many multi-story buildings in town that this will help. We have areas where houses are tight and compact in many parts of town, that the ladder truck could come from the perimeter and go over a house to get to other houses. In areas, we all know in our districts, we have plenty of areas that houses are really packed up together. Our ladder truck's 43 years old, and if we don't replace it, we're not going to keep our rating of a 2 rating. This is a way, and like I said, we don't pay this back. We have $400,000, and we were thinking some equipment, but mostly community outreach for the police department. I do realize that there are many things we do well. There are many things we could do better. We are looking into what those options will be, but a lot of that money will go to community outreach to help us on our mission of community policing, because we know we need to continue that drive. Street sweeper. With the amount of PPE that's out there, with the amount of trash, when people stay home, they generate more trash. It ends up blowing in the street. It ends up when the garbage man comes, sorry, it's the truth, they dump those cans. We end up with trash all up and down the street. We have 1 street sweeper for this entire town. We have another little bitty small one, and it is so small, when you drive it from Public Works to here, you got to turn around and bring it back to empty it. It's useless. This would give us another full-size street sweeper that would allow more presence. And when's the last time you saw the street sweeper? I realize that 1 is not enough. Upgrade smaller departments. What I'm trying to do is give Nicole Burke with pretrial diversion, which helps all kind of kids. You get in trouble once, it doesn't mean you got to ruin yourself. I'd like to see some money go into that program. I'd like to see some money promote Section 8, promote our housing. I'd like to see even Jimmy get some money for compliance, because, that's a huge issue. Maybe we could promote it. Maybe there's a way we could educate people, and Jimmy would get out of having to do some stuff, because people would finally understand, I can't do this or I can't do that. So we put $100,000 aside to try to help with that. Recreation department, equipment, we were thinking about a tractor or thinking about some piece of equipment that could help keep our parks clean. And the last item is probably going to get thrown out. It's $300,000, and the more we read the book and the more we looked at it, we'll probably be coming back to you, I can tell you, and reallocating. This is to put sewer in an area that we're going to annex. It will be in the city. This is the one thing out of the whole thing that the more we looked at it, I really don't think I can make it fit. So there's one right there that we'll be coming back and saying, let's reallocate this $300,000. And as we understand more, but we've really gone through it pretty well, we really think all the rest of them fit with the American Rescue Plan. The next thing we're talking about real quick is drainage. We have the retention area at Acadian Acres. We have another group one that we'll have to decide, which is cleaning canals and reworking banks of those canals all through town. We have $900,000. So that's one that we will spread out through town and come up with a process that everybody is included. We have $1 million. This can only happen in areas without a lot of conflict. We want to go in areas and replace culverts to bigger culverts. We have many areas where the city of New Iberia put in 12-inch culverts in the 40s and 30s, and they're just too small. Now, if you have a lot of lateral lines, a bunch of sewer lines, a bunch of gas lines, a bunch of utilities coming in, there's going to be too many conflicts. We're going to spend all our money on conflict boxes. So some areas will be easier than others. We're going to hire an engineer. That's something we're going to go through and study. And really, Joe and I work off of maps and notes and everything else. I can't tell you how many times we crack a slab or crack a street to put in a new pipe, larger pipe, and then we get to the bottom of it and find out the map's wrong and it wasn't a 12-inch pipe, it was an 18-inch pipe, and I can't put a 24. Sometimes I can slip another 18 next to it and double the capacity. Sometimes I can't. So in this, we're going to study our system, and then everywhere that it makes sense, we'll have money to improve some drainage. Upgraded park drainage. All of our parks have some areas that we would like to upgrade the drainage. Armico Pump Station, Joe, I've been a few times myself, has to get up at night because you have to, it's not automated. Part of it is and part of it isn't. The big pumps won't come on with any automation. So the small pump comes on. We need the big pump to come on at times. So this would give us money to automate that system.
And that, excuse me, that pump is the one in the West End
Yes.
area?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Then we have a bunch of street areas, Ann Street, Weldon and Dale, St. Peter, Glen and Evangeline, along the railroad track, just a bunch of smaller areas that our flooding has gotten worse over the years, and we can see it. We will have to get some piping to Bayutesh and go through some people's yards where we have right-of-ways, and it's going to be complicated, but this would give us the money to eliminate some of those areas that continue to get worse. Then we move to sewer. A very large project, which is $4.1 million, would reroute a large area of sewer around the Katy Acres area, which also goes under the bayou and then goes to McElhenney Street where the old pump station used to be, an old plant actually. All of that area, we have some issues. If we can reroute all of that sewer to the new plant, that all goes to Cotton Street. So if we spend $4.1 million, we reroute all of those problems, we take all of that pressure off those lines, it will greatly reduce our sewer issues that we constantly have in those two very old, they might be across the bayou, but they were all developed about the same time. All their pipes connect. Like I said, they go under the bayou together. All that area was developed in the 40s, 50s, 60s. That whole basin, if you will, if we could clean that up, we would increase our capacity in that area and we would fix a whole lot of problems. We've never had, we keep throwing money at it, $500,000, $1 million at a time, but we've never had the money to reroute all of that and get it to the new plant. That would be a huge help. We're going to have $500,000 to do corrective action around town. Another pot of money that we will turn in our worst hot spots, and then at least we have some money to address them. And then we have one, and we can do this. We would be boring under Highway 90 with this money to go to some businesses that have requested sewer, and that will be very good for our growth and our tax base. But that's kind of the whole package. So tonight, we're just trying to, we have so much legwork to do. This gets us on point of these are our missions, flesh them out, you know, make sure it all works, make sure it fits the plan, finish coming up with budgets, hire our engineers, hire our architects when the money is available. But for right now, the big thing is for us to work on to make sure that they fit the plan. We've researched it quite a lot, but we got a lot to do. To put a submission package together, and we're gonna start, I promise you, I don't wanna pay anything back. This is very different from all of our grants. All of our grants, we do the legwork, we do things for free, we don't even know if we're gonna get them, and then when we get them, or even with capital outlay, it's all progress payments. So we spend $100,000, they give us $100,000 back. And every month, you're a month behind getting your money back. This is a check, and they just say, don't spend it in the wrong place or you owe it to us. Well, I don't want to buy a ladder truck for $985,000 and then have the federal government knock on my door and tell me I owe $985,000. So part of getting a clear path is as soon as we can do some of the projects that we are 100% that they fit, we will develop a relationship with who our auditor is, with the person that is in charge of this, so that we can have all of our ducks in a row to send all the projects through and say, will these be approved? I'm just very blessed to have this, as the city is, but I don't want to spend something that next thing you know, I have to pay it back.
Right.
So I think that by coming up with a kind of concise overall plan, we can head towards something that we can all feel comfortable with. So now that's what we're talking about. I'm gonna open it up to comments and questions.
So
Yes, ma'am.
it's really important for people to understand too that, one, we're going to do a lot more work on this, and these are very high-level estimates. Those numbers could change significantly.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And some of these projects, if they change too much, we'll have the ability to decide whether or not we want to keep that project on the list. Because if
Yeah, no.
something's more expensive than what we thought, we might decide, okay, we really can't do that at this time. So nothing's written in stone. I just want people to be clear about that.
Oh, yeah, and there's been some ideas that were thrown around that after the first 4 or 5 days of really working on this, they didn't make the cut. It was like, I can't do it, it's too much.
Right.
I'm sure that will happen, and the good thing is, as I bring everything back to y'all, we will modify this, we will work on this together. We're gonna have some meetings on this where we meet, a couple at a time to try to come up with a process on these bulk pots of money that everybody agrees with. It's gonna take some teamwork. I mean, this is, it's an opportunity, but, it comes with a lot of work. Yes, sir.
First of all, comment on this. Is this, and I didn't realize this, but is this phase 1 and phase 2 or?
No, we have not.
Okay.
One of the biggest things
all right.
we have left to do is to break this in phases.
Okay.
Because once we agree, that not the sewer or the drainage, but the 9.4 million, the big sheet of project, that is one of the next steps is we're gonna start figuring, where's our cash flow? What do we wanna do first? What can wait till next time? What is impacted by something we're doing in the budget or another grant project that would be better to wait? There's gonna be some times that, a simple example, the $100,000 per each council member. We have 3 council people who wanna do sidewalks. They're not gonna have enough money to do the sidewalks where they want to. They're in an area that fits this. So we might say, okay, for your money, we're gonna take 50,000 of out of that pot, just to get you where you get all the sidewalks on Dale Street. So there's gonna be some overlap, which is gonna be fun because it's gonna let us do more. There's gonna be, areas that we just have to work out a process that everybody feels that, they're getting what they need for the people they represent.
So,
Yes, sir.
so the thing I'm excited about, not only that, we've got this opportunity to improve our community in all kind of different fashions, but the opportunity that this could significantly reduce the financial strain on our budget going down the road for projects that we'd have wanted to do or could have the opportunity to do, but now we can do. And I just think when you build a vibrant community, you attract people to your community and you increase your tax base, increase the quality of life. So I'm excited about this. But I really want to let the public know that this is not a closed-door policy. I mean, we want comments. We want people to come and talk to us, let us know what your thoughts are, flush out ideas. This is a plan that's moving. I think the mayor did a great job of putting an additional plan together. I'm really proud of what he is attacking and issues that he's addressing. And I think all these issues are on point with what we can do for the community. But this is not closed door. We want to hear from the community. Let us know what you guys think and what you want to do and how it's going to affect you. And I think we will openly discuss that idea.
Anybody else? Any other comments?
I have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. So as soon as we finish the purchase from the parish of that property for the detention pond, can we start digging?
Somehow I knew you were gonna ask me about that.
You tell us.
Can we start digging once we own it? How long does that take?
No, well, the first thing we'll do is hire our engineers,
Okay.
and that is gonna be Finstamaker, because Finstamaker worked on that project quite a few years ago. I pulled it out of the vault. It's a large enough project that they don't come and do our little bitty projects, We have Chandler Staples, who does a really good job for us, but that project would be too big for Chandler. So the first thing we would do once we own the property is decide what phase we're doing the drainage in. I mean, that's one of the first things. And then we would hire the engineering firm, and they'll start working on it. Now, there might be some other money that we could use to hire the engineering firm, because I'm a big believer in getting that done early so that you don't hold anything up. So, because they did some preliminary studies and some preliminary budgets, but that's all they've done. They didn't get paid to do the whole thing. So, the order of business for that would be, we have to get the parish, who verbally said they would sell us the property, get them to sell us the property. We have a couple of little things to do with the property after we get it, and we'll take care of that as a city. And once we're ready to go, then we hire the engineering firm. The engineering firm does their work. And then after that, if it's elected to go in phase 1, then it can start. If
Okay.
it goes in phase 2, then it waits 2 years till phase 2. That's just something we're gonna have to decide, and everybody's gonna want, a project or their project. So we'll just have to go with it like that. We do have drainage money as well, and there is a chance that you could start something with the drainage money and then reduce the pot here. And then we'd come back and we'd say, because that's the kind of, the flexibility that we can have with this is really awesome. So that's a huge project. Let's say the first phase of it is $500,000. If we have enough and it doesn't impact something else, we could say, okay, well, we'll use the drainage money that can be used for that, and then we reduce it on this. So there might be a way to get something started, and I just use that as an example. It could be the one you asked me about. It could be anything on the list, because we still have our normal budget money, and in many instances, these projects always fit what we could do out of our own capital outlay. So it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, Already we've been meeting with the finance director and my staff to figure out how we're gonna handle this, because this is gonna be a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not, there could be a time that I come to you and say, we're gonna scale back one of these projects and I'm gonna have to hire somebody. I could well have to hire another staff member to weed through some of this. Really, maybe another finance person, to tell you the truth. That's what Kevin and I have been talking about, that I might need to bring in an accounting firm. The city has never had the opportunity, the problem, or the pleasure of spending $40 million, between everything we're doing, of regular bond money, of road money, of all this other stuff in this. When you look at the grand total, we're spending $40 million in 4 years. Well, I might have to bring in an accounting firm to help to make sure that this is all straight. And I do realize that, but we're still fleshing that out. But that kind of gives you an idea of your project, because I know how you've been pushing for it, and you should be.
Yeah. Now,
Good job.
my constituent said that they've been promised this project for years and years and years, like apparently before you.
I picked it up out of the vault.
I didn't realize that, yeah. I
It
didn't
was in the
know.
vault, and I've had nothing but flooding problems, and I was cleaning out the vault when I got here and said, well, wait a minute, this could be something that could fix our problem, but I had no way to access the property, no way to buy the property, no way to own the property, and it is the only piece. If the parish elects to not sell it to us, we can't do your project. I mean, there is no other way.
That would not be fun.
Well, I realize that, but we're working toward doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Dustin?
Yeah, so just for the record, my district, I don't know about promise, I don't know about promising, but T-by-U has been a major problem for many, many years. So hopefully with these funds, we can see something happen with that, being that you're talking about drainage of canals and ditches in all districts, so.
In that $900,000, I mean, when I think, and I'm not gonna limit myself to that or any one of you, and don't be insulted if I didn't name your canal, but I realize that Ann Street Canal, we've got some issues on the end of it. T-by-U, we have some issues. The M10, because even if we didn't get to do your drainage project, the M10 canal that drains all that Acadian Acres Basin and all of that really needs cleaning out. I mean, there are canals in many areas that, need some love. That's what I plan on spreading that $900,000 around with. So it's definitely in the mix. Like I said, this is gonna be fun. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I think it's a very comprehensive plan. I see what you're doing. You're including every aspect of the city as best you can. I'll say this is a good problem to have, because when we sat with you, I was like, this take a lot of work. And Ricky said a mouthful, letting our constituents know that they'll have their chance to give input on, what they like or what they don't like. Because this is the beginning of the process to spend $19,400,000.
It is.
And when people hear money that's not in the meetings, or that doesn't understand it, they think, well, y'all got a lot of money to spend however y'all want.
And which is
don't-
not true.
And it's
because
not true.
I wish it was, but we have a
this-
lot of, I don't want to say strings, because like I said, I'm not knocking it. This is a blessing. There are a lot of requirements, a lot of restrictions on how we spend this money.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I learned.
And weeding through, I took all the master study projects. I took every budget book since I've been here. I even went in the vault and found other projects just to see if there was a good idea laying around, and tried to weed through this to find things that would fit this program. And there were many, many things that got on the chopping block floor that were great projects, but just didn't even come close to meeting,
Yeah, I almost didn't say anything because I like everything in it, but to say that, I support, the idea of trying to, it's comprehensive. It's touching to me almost every aspect of our community that has issues.
Yeah, well,
And
that's-
some that don't, some's gonna be some new stuff.
Right, right. Well, that was my goal, and that should be our goal as a unit, as a team. That should be our goal, and I think it is, you know. Anybody else?
Can I make one more comment?
Unless, I saw,
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Ledbetter, let her go first.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, I did concede to, not having that state-of-the-art swimming pool at Bank Street Park.
I bit off more than I could chew. It was $5 million.
And we're not leaving Bank Street Park out of the mix. We are gonna get some things to upgrade and make it much better than it is right now without the pool. So I'm working behind the scenes, of course, to get some upgrades for Bank Street Park. So don't think that it's all left alone. We will be working on the park.
Yes, ma'am. Bank Street's a vital park. I mean, you and I started, kind of have gone through there and done a few small things, and more coming. Now, Councilwoman Reed.
So, well, thank you, because I was about to say something about the park, so I'll skip that one. The only other thing, I just want to say how excited I am about the $1 million that the city's going to invest in helping people to fix their homes. This is such a big deal, because we know that we have a lot of homes here that need some tender loving care. And the fact that we can actually invest in the citizens who maybe aren't as fortunate as some of the others, that's a big deal. And I really hope that people see that this is going to be a really big deal and that we're going to help as many people as we possibly can. Hopefully, we will get some people to join Section 8 and improve their properties so that our city will begin to look like a vibrant city. Because, you know, people don't just stay on one side of the bayou. They actually drive through the whole city. And so we need to make sure that as they go through all of the city, they see, you know, nice homes and people keeping up their yards and keeping, you know, the community looking nice so that people want to come here and live, or people who left want to come back. And so I think this is a great investment in our community. I'm just so excited about this project kicking off.
Thank you. And you have behind the scenes told me you would help.
Yes.
And I am going to, that's one of the things that,
Yes.
you know, building
And-
things, and what's in my realm is all these construction projects. Totally comfortable with that. That item number one can do a lot of good for our community, but it's gonna be an animal to get under control and to, so,
there.
believe me, I will call on you.
I'll be there.
All right, anybody else? Any other comments? Then I would ask you to please vote your machines. Thank y'all very much, and thanks for all your help. I don't think we talked enough about the meetings behind the scenes, the discussions. You know, this is a true partnership. Madam Clerk, 4B.
Resolution 2184, accepting change order number 2 for the City Slip Shoreline Development Project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all contracts and documentation in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor
Second.
Pro Tem and a second by Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this item?
So we're just getting a credit here, right? Because they don't have to do some work?
Yes, we
Okay.
are going to end up using that credit to do some electrical work on the same project.
Okay, the only other question I had was, it said, the change order said something about 12/15/21 being substantial completion.
Yes.
Do we think that's gonna complete before then? Because based on what I read in the other part, it sounded like it might be completed before then.
It could be before then, but, you know, the contractor is substantially complete. You want to come up, Paul? This contract is substantially complete really now.
Yeah, that's what I was reading the other part, so I was trying to make sure I understood.
You're not wrong.
Right, so
Okay.
Coastal Timbers has actually finished what we consider to be substantial completion. There's a partnership between the city and Coastal, which is recognized by Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries through this grant process. And so the city has an obligation to do some in-kind service in order to meet a match. And so Coastal Timber has done as much as they can do until such time as the city comes in and does their work. Now remember, there's 3 projects going on at the same time at the same site.
Right.
So we're trying to coordinate between the George Rodriguez Park, this project, and one that's following right behind it. So We think that Coastal Timber has done what they need to do. Now, there's going to be a punch list, which should be part of substantial completion. They recognize that they need to come back and take care of that. But as soon as there's a clear area for the city to get in to work that site, there's a lot of dramatic site development that's got to
The museum
happen.
contractor is in the way for the city to come in and do its in-kind work. So
Okay.
we've gone as far as we can, not to rock the boat. Joe has many in-kind projects. So Joe moved the equipment and went to the next one. So
Okay.
he's at one of the other projects that the city is doing their in-kind portion. And whenever the museum contractor gets his steel out of the way and moves some other things, we'll go back there.
Okay.
But it wasn't fair that Coastal Timbers really was substantially complete, just to let that guy sit there and not be able to obtain substantial completion wasn't fair.
Right.
So, anyway, but and we're gonna have a lot of that. Joe is moving a lot of equipment around and doing a lot of great stuff that is helping us do these projects, but, he's jumping all over.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood. 'cause
Right.
the
And when you
dates
see
were
him, just
different.
tell him, just blame him, he's holding the whole show up. No, I'm kidding. He's always worried. He calls me every day. Don't tell him that, don't tell him that.
I will.
Any other discussion on this item? Then I would ask you, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, 4C.
Resolution 21-85, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a certificate of substantial completion from Coastal Timbers for the City Slip Shoreline Development Project.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilman Swear and Councilwoman Marcotte. Is there any discussion? Since it's the same item we just talked about. Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 4D.
Resolution 21-86, appointing Raymond Shudu Lewis to serve on the new Iberia Housing Authority Board for a term of 5 years.
So moved.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Gonsalas, do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Marcotte. And as this council has changed the requirements, I'll be happy to tell you that school board member Raymond Shudu Lewis is present, because now when we appoint people, we make them come, which we used to not do. Want to come up?
Yeah, you know I like to talk.
That's why I invited you.
You gonna tell us how much money y'all got?
We about to start budgeting. The budget. Maybe I should let y'all vote first.
We can.
We can't.
All right, well, I just wanted to acknowledge you were here. Is there any discussion on this item?
Glad to have him on board.
And everybody knows what we're doing. We're filling a vacancy. Someone has got off the board. He sent in his resume and asked to be on the board. So that's what we're doing here.
Yes.
Everybody's cool?
Yeah, this is the seat that Panat had?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I thought in the packet. Oh,
Yes. So no discussion. Please vote your machines. All right, thank you all very much. And we could hear from our newest Haney Board member now.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support. Forgive me, I'm a little tired. It's been a long weekend, and I had to go to court today. Yesterday made 2 years, my son. I had to go to court today, so I'm a little tired.
Yes, sir.
But, Mayor, I've watched the Housing Authority for the last 3 years. Tarps on the roofs, less occupancy, and in 3 years' time, I watched. I already have a busy schedule, and I'm involved and do a lot of different things, as well as I have underlying health conditions. But to serve on this board at this time, I think, Mayor, you know what you're getting. We served together.
6 years.
You know how I roll. some of you in generally know how I roll. I'm about the right thing. We cannot afford to see this housing authority property in despair like this. I'm not about tearing anything down. I'm about putting affordable housing for people that really need, building it back up. As my dentist, Dr. Lorio, always tells me, I tell him, Doc, I'm on steroids. This tooth done chipped. He tell me, Shuby, long as you have bone, I can work on your teeth. As long as they have structures at Cedar Hill, A.B. Simon, and Bayard Street, they're savable. And that's what I want to do. I'm not going, getting on this board to do nothing but the right thing. I'm not going to argue, fuss, and fight, whatever. This has been 3 years I've watched this go down to the state it's in. And I want to say this, for some of you that may not know or really understand. The mayor has the authority to appoint members, but this mayor has actually had to get involved with HUD to try to save this housing authority. Don't know if you know that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
It's all right.
you know, I'm gonna tell it the way it is. And he gets a lot of credit, I'm telling you, for something he shouldn't have to be doing. But he's doing because he understands the needs for housing. We can't afford it. We have it's 200 units, and you might have 60 occupied.
Yep.
140 that's just there. It makes no sense to me, and we got to do better. Now, I'm going on this board, whatever's going on, good or not so good, I'm accepting responsibility for moving it forward. I'm accepting that responsibility, whatever it is we need to do to move it forward. That's what I'm all about, and that's what I'm gonna be trying to do. And I thank y'all for your time. I thank y'all for your support. And Mayor, again, I watched it for 3 years, and just enough is enough. We gotta do better, we can do better, and we're gonna do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your willingness to serve. We'll move to 4E.
Resolution 21-87, removing Delana Booty from the New Iberia Housing Authority Board.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis, second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion? And the one thing I'd like to add, we don't normally read, it's in your packet, but just so the public knows, the New Iberia Housing Authority recommended to terminate this person from the board because they don't attend the meeting.
Let me ask you a question, Mayor. I do have a question about this. So, is she a resident? I mean,
She is,
okay, so she's a resident member of this board?
yes. And
Okay.
we will replace her because it is a requirement of the board at some point. We'll replace her with another resident member.
Okay, so, well, my question is, in light of COVID, does anything, I mean, her missing meetings, does it have anything to do with that? I mean, is there any explanation for why she wasn't in attendance? And is she the only person? I mean, I'm questioning only because, last year was COVID, a lot of people quarantined. I'm just asking.
Yes, and I don't have that answer. The board recommended that, we replace her because they have had issues of having trouble getting a quorum. There is some constantly in the condition they're in as a classified by HUD as a troubled agency. There's constantly, they can't even write a check without getting approval. So their board meetings are becoming more and more critical because they can't move. If they can't have a board meeting and do something, then they can't do anything. So they had just expressed, that it was critical to have an active board and to kind of have people that attended the meetings, and they always had a quorum. So when they asked me to do it, I said, that's what we do, and I see Jeff has his hand up. but-
Okay.
Yeah, let me explain to you the process, because it's not a one-step thing.
Okay?
The Housing Authority was formed before Louisiana adopted the Housing Authority's law, but we're subject to it, they're subject to it. And the mayor, as the elected official of the municipality, has the power to remove people from the board, but what the statute says is, before he does that, he has to give them notice of their failure to do their job, and then they have 10 days to file a request for a hearing before the council.
Okay.
So the mayor sends the notice, they can request a hearing. If they want the hearing, they come before the council. If the council finds that the charge is not sustained, the person continues to serve.
Okay.
But when talking about how we do this, the kind of the default rule around here is you take it to the council. So,
Take everything to the council.
yeah, so, and especially something like this, because it does involve a lot of people's, their housing, and it's just important to them. So we're taking this is on the agenda tonight, but if you vote in favor of this, we still have to go through the process of sending the notice, given the opportunity for hearing and all that kind of stuff. Could the mayor act without taking this to the council first and start the process with the notice? Yes. But I think as some of the council people who've been involved in discussions with the Housing Authority know, he's trying to involve the council in this because it's a big problem. And it's going to take a lot of people working on it to get a solution. So this is on the agenda. The formal step is for the mayor to send this notice. And whether or not the person has done a good job or whether or not they've complied with the bylaws and shown up at the meetings and all that, that's something that could be heard by this council as a hearing at a meeting if the person decides they want that right.
Okay.
Okay? So it's
Thank
not a
you.
one-step thing. And whatever happens, there will be more process,
Okay.
as I outlined.
Yes. I bring all everything, If we're gonna be a team, we're gonna be a team, so.
No, I was just trying to understand why she's
Yeah.
being removed.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions or comments?
Just from my memory, I know me and Miss Ledbetter, we've been kind of sitting at the table with you as well with HUD
Oh, yeah.
for, 3 years?
Yes?
Conference call, Mr. Wesley.
Oh, yeah.
remember? And if I'm not mistaken, I think the person in question was missing, then, which was before COVID. So I know, I think that, yeah, they came up 3 years ago.
Okay. Anybody else? Then I would please ask you to vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 4F.
Resolution 21-88, declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing its disposal.
Oh, this is funny. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Marcotte and Councilwoman Ledbetter. This is a truck that was stolen from, wastewater, and it just showed up. The sheriff's department had just done a major cleanup in this area by the old sugar mill, and then I'm telling you, 2 days later, this thing got dumped. The police are working the case, but, we've been looking for this truck for quite a few years, and as you see, we found it, and it's not quite in the shape they took it in. There's nothing left to it, so we want to declare it surplus and, be able to get rid of it.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on this one? And, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Nope, thank y'all very much. I wonder what happened to that truck.
Jimmy couldn't use it?
Yeah, really. 4G.
Resolution 21-89, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the New Iberia Trailhead project and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Swear made the motion, and Councilman Lewis is the second. Do we have any discussion on this item?
Well, just in light of what happened with the Lewis Street project, do we think we have a good estimate, or are we gonna be coming back with more labor materials?
I think we're good on these. Lewis Street was an odd animal because of the asphalt. We don't have an asphalt plant anywhere in the area, so a little bitty contractor couldn't go get the asphalt, pick it up, and come back, so it drove our cost up. I don't think on these projects, if you look at all of the architectural projects that we've been doing, we've been hitting the budget fairly close. We've had some that had material uppages because of COVID or whatever, but as far as for the bids, we've had some that we rejected and rebid the project because and that's always an option because bids came back too high. But these, I don't feel, and let me just say, they're all coming tonight at once, really because of the state, really because of the process. You and I talked about that. If you look at I'll just be real brief, but you look at to roof the gyms, okay? We were awarded that money from capital outlay, wanted to get moving, thought, man, we'll move this quick, we'll roof the 2 gyms. Took forever for us to get the money. Took forever to set up because they were on COVID and leave and everything else to get the man from facility planning to come, Mr. Lee. Then Mr. Lee came. Then Mr. Lee said that our architect wasn't being paid enough. Okay, and there's an item that later down the thing, we added some money to the project because he said he had the wrong amount on the project. So we picked up another $120,000 on the project with Paul's help. And then he said, oh, by the way, you need to this is the state fee curve, and this is what you need to get paid. So his pay went up. Mr. Lee left. We still can't bid the project. Then we finished the drawings. We are being creative so that we could spend some money on the inside the gyms and get more bang for our buck. We submit the plans. He sends me an email. Did you advertise for the project? I said, no, sir, because you sent me an email that said I couldn't. He said, well, you can't till I review the project. I said, okay, when do you think we'll get it? I'm not sure yet. Then I had a meeting with, very nice man, then I had a meeting with him last week on a new project and said, how you come on the roof project? Well, I'm not finished yet because I have 48 of these to do. So we're in limbo until he gives us the approval, and then we can advertise. Then you have the 45-day bid process, and then if something, God forbid, the bids came in higher than we thought, well, then we would address that then. But on all of these projects, many of them have been held up and have moved very slow. I'm going to say it's COVID. I'm going to say that the guys who work in facility planning are all working from home. It has not been as expedient as we would like. Just like when we talk about this money. We talk about money, we got $1 million grant. I think people think we have the $1 million in the bank and we're making interest on it. We don't have the money. We have a letter that says we got the grant. And you only get the money progress payment. When you start the project, you get the money for that month. They reimburse you, then it goes the next month. But just to make that clear, when you see these projects and all of a sudden there's 4 or 5 of them, these are things we've been working on for months and months. These are things that the architect has spent time and money on. And I'll tell you, he pays forward. There's 5 people in that firm, and many of the grants that we do, he does not get paid and does not get the project unless we get the grant. So there's a lot of effort and a lot of time that goes in from this firm for us to be able to turn those grants in and have a chance to get them. I can tell you that he's already researching and working with us on the American Rescue Plan to make sure that things fit. He's already looking at my budgets. Y'all know me, I love to do budgets. I've already done budgets on all of those projects that we're talking about for the American Rescue. I'm running them by him already and saying, look at this, look at that. We're not even sure if they're going to get approved. But that lag work and that teamwork is one of the things that has made us very successful. The combination of Jane, of my pricing ability and being a contractor for 30-something years, and their design work and willingness to do things on the front end, so on the risk that, they're going to get the work if we get the work. And on the small projects, we negotiate the fee much lower than the state fee curve. If it's a capital outlay project from the city that doesn't have to go to facility planning, we're well below the state fee curve. It's much cheaper if I talk to Paul than his son, but it's all good. It's all good. Mr. Allen is David, he's just Paul. Anyway, but those are the things that help us to be a team and to be successful. Anyway, question? Yes, ma'am.
One thing I was hoping you were going to mention is, in light of what you just said about the projects for the roofs of the different parks, is how we're going to do status in the future so people kind of know
Oh, yeah,
where we
you're
are.
right, you're right. Dee and I have been discussing something, and because we're spending, basically in 4 years, $40 million, because of so many projects, about every fourth meeting, I'm gonna give us a status update. And I should be saying I'm waiting on Mr. Lee, and that's why we haven't bid the project out. Or this project did come in over bid, and now we're working. So what we're gonna start doing is breaking these into pots of different funding sources, because we already have to do that with everything. And I will be offering, Dee and I kind of came up with that the other day. We went a discussion, I said, you know what I ought to do is do some updates, and she, because she was questioning, you know, what about this, what about that? And rightfully so. So you're going to be getting project updates because people see this, we talk about it, and then they don't understand why it's a year later that we're finally picking up the ball and doing it. But I think that will help. Great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, I think it'll be fun. I like to talk. Yes, sir.
Mayor, seeing that Mr. Allen Paul has 4 resolutions that's coming in front of us to sign an agreement with him, so just for the public to know, you have, being that it's professional services, you have the authority to hire him, and it doesn't have to be a council's vote, correct?
I select through the charter, I'm allowed to select professional services, but it still comes to y'all.
Okay.
And I don't do anything without y'all.
No, I
Okay,
understand
so
that.
I pick our insurance people, but you ratify. I pick the architects, I pick the engineers. There are many functions in the charter that I can do, but then they come to y'all. Yes, Jeff, I see he's got his hand up.
It does not have to be bid.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't believe in bidding professional services. You get the best price you can negotiate. You bet, y'all know me, I negotiate. You can ask Paul. I believe in negotiating and getting the best deal I can get. There's a state fee curve for a lot of these things. On the big projects that go through facility planning, look, Paul was less, and Mr. Lee said he has to get the state fee curve kind of thing. But on our other projects and stuff, you know, same thing with the insurance. Ask any of our employees, we have some of the cheapest insurance around. It's one reason we retain our employees. With all of those things, you know, I love to negotiate, but it comes to y'all.
So,
Oh, sorry.
just have the floor if you want. So all I'm saying is, I support you bringing Mr. Allen here, because being here in this council for 5 years now, seeing what his contribution to the city, along with what he does with Jane, like you mentioned, is second to none. So I just wanted to tell him that while he's sitting right there.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
No, I just wanted to, a few quick examples of professional services, because we get asked those questions. We may not bring them here.
Okay.
Hey, people ask, why the same guy for this,
Right.
why the same guy for that, why the same guy for that? What are your
We
professional
have a
services?
company that does our liability insurance.
Okay.
We have a company that does our property insurance. We have a company that does our autos. We have a company that does our workman's comp. Some of them overlap, but we have 3 insurance companies, okay? And I went out and found the best deals and the best rates and the best thing that I could and brought them all back to town. They were all located with companies from Baton Rouge. So our workers didn't have anybody to talk to. You know, you got a guy who's a laborer at Public Works and he wants to keep working, but he's got an injury, or his wife is going to handle the business or whatever. You know, they weren't going to Baton Rouge. They were getting a runaround. So that was a consideration for me when I tried to figure out how can I get the best price, but how can I get the best price and have our people where they have access. Architectural firms, engineering firms. As we talked about, you know, Chandler Staples does a lot of our smaller projects. For the first time, I'll be doing something with Fence to Maker on that very, very large one. We use Domingue and Zabo. They've been doing our sewer for probably 30 years, I guess, 40 years. They know our system backwards and forwards and got us through a consent decree. It's why I utilize those people. So some of it is because of that knowledge of our system and their track record.
And knowledge of our city as well.
And they've worked here forever. So, but those are good examples of professional services.
Gotcha, thank you. Kind of like the old saying when, and I know you're not the CEO, but similarly, when a CEO takes over a corporation, he usually brings in his team.
And I did very minimal of that. You know, I
Right.
kept all the department heads.
Whatever.
Well, I've watched almost every other mayor tell a bunch of department heads goodbye and bring in a bunch of new ones. You lose all that knowledge, you lose all that continuity. And let me tell you, when I got here, I didn't know what a pencil drawer was. You know, you don't know how to be the mayor until you're the mayor. Those people were invaluable to get me going and jumpstart me. That I didn't have to learn everything. I just had to learn what I needed to learn. You know.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So, for the good fortune of the community, we have a lot of projects going on in the community, but tell me what the Trailhead project is. That's what let me wrap my head around.
Paul, just explain your trailhead project.
I'm new at it, so just that one. I know what the Civic Marina is. and
He'll do it.
Through the Louisiana Department of Transportation, the trail, excuse me, CRT.
Right.
The Trailhead is a project that's part of the refurbishment of the boardwalk. The boardwalk was taken down because of its life expectancy, had been far exceeded, and so the boardwalk was taken down. Michael Domingue, who is one of our contacts, and I'm telling you, Jane has a phenomenal network of contacts on the state level that allows us to get in the door to make an application to file for a grant. So anyway, the Trailhead project is going to connect with the George Rodriguez project and come across by Birch Chester's property, come down Week Street to connect up with Main Street. And we have a series of wayfinding signs which have not been unveiled yet, but I think we've got at least 10 of them that are going to be distributed throughout the downtown area. You know, our feedback is that wayfinding is really an important component for those visitors who come to a community. It makes them feel safer. It gets them oriented. It tells them where to go. And it's kind of a self-guided tour. You're talking about tourism, that's a phenomenal item to have to kind of support tourism. So that's going to be included as part of the scope of some of this. And we're talking about doing some crosswalks on some of St. Peter Street and Main Street. So we got a kind of a combination of a bunch of different things associated with that particular grant. It's called a Trailhead because that's where you start the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions or comments on this item?
Well, while Mr. Paul is up there, I just have a question about the contract. Are you ever going to get rid of these red lines? It's very hard to read with the red lining in there.
You know, the red line in the contract is an AIA standard. They require the red line document to
Okay,
make it official.
okay. I mean,
Sorry,
we just,
it's a standard that the American Institute of Architects follows. And we follow
Okay.
the standard.
okay. I mean, I've read other legal
Sorry.
documents and they get rid of the red line. I'm like, oh my God, this red line is driving me crazy.
So sorry.
No, it's okay.
I will send that comment to the AIA.
Thank you.
Good comment.
Anybody else? Then on this item, I please ask you to vote your machines. Thank you. Item 4H.
Resolution 21-90, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the New Iberia Historic District Trail project, and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by, I think it was Councilwoman Reed, and a second by Councilwoman Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Or do you want Paul to come up and explain this item? Anybody? Seeing no comment, I'll ask you to vote your machines. Thank y'all very much. Item 4I.
Resolution 21-91, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the Civic Center Marina Phase 1, and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, second by Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this item?
When do you think we can start construction?
Let me explain this one.
All right.
Okay, so with wildlife and fisheries, we have a few waterfront projects. We've got City Slips, we've got Felicity's Landing, and we've got Civic Center Marina. Civic Center Marina is divided into 3 phases. We did that in order to carve out the opportunities for funding available through U.S. Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. So we had a meeting with Jack Modisette, the Director of Wildlife and Fisheries, probably 2 years ago. We're kind of trying to feel out and see what the opportunities were for the city to receive funding through the grant process. And Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and U.S. Department of Wildlife and Fisheries wants to partner with cities and private entities in order to develop the waterways, because the more waterways development that they have, the more they support the industry. They can sell licenses, they can sell gasoline, they can tax, they can build revenue in order to get visitors, and especially because of the intercoastal waterway. The intercoastal waterway, especially on the East Coast and the West Coast, it's a very vibrant waterway. Like, people travel a lot in their RVs, which are actually on water. So they come to communities and they visit communities. You have to offer the amenities to make it safe for them to come. This is a program for, this particular program was through the Big P Transient Boat Program. And so they recognized Mayor had a vision about what he wanted, and they said, this is a great idea. Let's do it. So let's partner with the city, and let's go ahead and start this development and give them the money to do that. So they gave us actually 2 pots of money to be able to do that for phase 1 and phase 2. Now, we applied for a 3rd pot of money, and as Freddie was saying, we do a lot of work and sometimes we don't get a grant. We've had a couple of grants that have not worked itself through because it just wasn't eligible at the time. But we are applying for a national grant for the completion of phase 3 of this project, along with, we've got some money that we're going to be leveraging to use and develop up more stuff with respect to Felicity's Landing. And that's quite, you're quite eligible to do that. And it's a smart thing to do, because you can take a $360,000 match and you can make it a $1.5 million match. And so we're doing that.
Can match each
And
other.
it's being innovative with what you can do in terms of the world of grants. And so we're actually filing that on Friday, that application. And so the phase 1 and phase 2 are all part of the Civic Center Marina. They're grant dollars that were filed and received by the city.
Over a year ago.
It was 2019, almost
And
2
we
to 3 years
have
ago.
waited
So
for that long to get our core approval.
right.
To get through the federal process
correct.
to be able to get to this point. Those are 2 projects that I thought we would have let the architecture a year ago. But because of all kind of things, we're here now after we've been through the core and all of that. That's another reason you got 4 of them tonight.
Okay.
Right. So that's the nature of those 2 projects, and the state and federal government wanted to partner with New Iberia to be able to build them out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Then I would please ask you to vote your machines. Thank you all very much. And almost out of the 4s. 4J.
Resolution 21-92, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the Civic Center Marina Phase 2, and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
This time I'm going to give it to Councilman Lewis and second Councilman Swear. Is there any discussion on this other phase of Civic Center? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machine. Thank you. 4K, Madam Clerk.
The agenda was amended to include this one, so the numbers are out of order. This is Resolution 21-94, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Allen for the professional services on the re-roofing of Sear Gates Community Center and West End Community Center projects, and authorizing the mayor to execute all contracts in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Swear, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item?
Is this the one where you said that they said the curve at the fee had to be higher?
Yes.
Okay.
We added money to the project, which was really neat. Mr. Lee came and had a dollar amount, and we all realized we could get more. So the state added more money, and then we had to adjust Paul's fee by the state fee curve.
Okay.
So that really worked out well. We can sign this contract, and then I've already seen the plans. They're basically complete for the most part, and we are just waiting for the review from Mr. Lee. And once we have that, and we are waiting on it, then we can advertise and put this project out to bid. It's a great project. We all know we're ready to go inside the gyms, but I need a roof before I can go inside. It makes no sense to renovate the inside with a leaking roof. But that's one. This is a great example that we have been waiting on that for a while.
Are we gonna change, is it gonna change the appearance or something?
Sir?
Is it gonna change the appearance? We're gonna flat roofs or what?
No, we're replacing some wall metal, but it won't look any different. We have some standing seam roof sheets that the roofing is actually very durable and good, but the flashings are bad. So we'll be able to save the standing seam area, but we're gonna replace all the flashings, of course, replace all the penetrations. We have some old built-up roofs that basically were coal tar roofs, which were great roofs. They lasted for, people always knock flat roofs, but a coal tar roof that you can't build anymore because of EPA really lasted. Some of those roofs are 60 years old, but we're not putting that back. So we'll be going with, a modern roof system, but it won't change the look of the building. The only thing that'll change, and I already showed it, the
Yeah.
only thing that'll change would be the front of the west end. There's a little roof at the entry, and that will change a little bit. And I showed everybody
Yeah.
and said, okay, do y'all like it? And y'all were fine with it. So I knew that was your district. I wasn't gonna change something without showing you. But really, for the most part, no, they will look exactly like they look now. And they've all been painted. Like I said, they're looking good. If we can get new roofs, then we can go inside. Anybody else?
So is that gonna delay the Boys and Girls Club from opening in the West End? Because I know we needed to make some changes for them, and you have to wait on the roof.
Changes, but that's all interior, and what we did, knowing that I was in discussions for probably almost a year and a half with that, we took some money from another project, and we removed an air conditioning unit, and we patched the roof, and the roof is not leaking for the most part. It has one little bitty area, but it's not, we can proceed with our renovations for them, and what I'm hoping is that'll be one of the first areas that we address.
Okay,
So I don't think it will hold the schedule. They were looking at, to be operational, they're hoping by, early next year, let's say the spring. I don't see a problem with that. I really don't. And
okay,
that's an important project. That's gonna help so many kids. That's gonna be a
Absolutely.
good project.
okay.
Anybody else? And I would ask you to please vote your machines.
Sorry.
There we go. Thank you. I like to see those green lights. Madam Clerk, 5A.
Resolution 21-93, a resolution in support of granting final subdivision approval for property located at 711 Jane Street, belonging to Lot A, Building 4, A Better Tomorrow LLC, Lot B, Oliver Oaks Investments LLC, based on a variance relative to Section 78-104 sewage infrastructure.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Motion by Councilwoman Reed and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing, is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing, no? Then I would ask you to vote your machines. Thank you.
Jane worked hard on this one.
She did. This was one, look, she was ready to come up here. This was,
I read it.
She worked hard.
that's good. Thank you, Jane. Item 6A.
Introduction of ordinance 2021-14, an ordinance confirming the final form and execution of the bond purchase agreement in connection with the issuance and sale of revenue and refunding bond, Series 2021, of the City of New Iberia, State of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewith, and to set for public hearing on September 7th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilwoman Marcotte, a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I would please ask you to vote your machines. Spoke with Jason Akers today, and we're right on track, and we got back our financial review, and it was it was all good, and we're proceeding with, we have a step on Thursday, and then he told me, don't be on vacation and answer your phone next Wednesday, which I will, because that's the big day that I think we sell it, and we know our rate, and those kind of things. So we fast moving to wrap this up, it's good. Thank y'all.
Please let me know if the rate changes.
I will, and I hope it goes down.
Yeah.
7A, Madam Clerk.
Success of District 5 litter cleanup event and upcoming citywide litter campaigns in individual districts.
Yes, I put this on because the first cleanup was Councilwoman Reed and went very well, and now I just kind of want to push a little pressure, like Brooke said. I would like to see the other districts pop up and line up some cleanups. Republic furnished a dumpster, although we have a little problem with that. But Republic furnished a dumpster, we'll continue to furnish dumpsters. Parish Proud will continue to come and support us. It fits right in that we're kind of taking some new initiatives with litter. So I'm just wanted to, one, thank her again, thank the citizens of the district for showing up. We had quite a few volunteers. And ask y'all to kind of just think about it on a schedule when you would want to do a district clean. Line that up, please get with me, we'll line it up. We'll take some tricks from Dee Dee and, put it on Facebook, get it out there. Get Parish Proud involved from the beginning so that we can have some volunteers and continue to do this around the city. So I just put it on to kind of say, okay, who's up? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since Dee Dee got all that energy, I'm just gonna latch on to her and, you know what I mean? Yeah, and since our districts,
Yeah,
Kinda
well, that's
connect.
it. No, Hopkins Street is, you're each
Yeah.
have a side of the street.
I ain't gonna reinvent the wheel, I'm gonna just jump on her wagon.
That's what I'm doing too, so it's all good.
You better pull too.
Right. Good, but anyway, I just want to bring it up that as y'all are ready, please let me know and we will continue this work around the city.
Yeah, we already
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, we're gonna meet
What's
on Monday.
Might be next.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna do 2 and 5, like maybe Hopkins Street and
Okay.
in
then,
Field Street, yeah.
I'm excited about
Something
that.
like
Good,
that.
good. Let me know when, and like I said, I'll start advertising it through the city. We'll, try to hop it up as much as we can and, get people to show up.
I just gotta try to slow Dee Dee down a little bit so I can catch up with her.
Okay.
Let it cool down a little bit.
Oh, good, good.
I'm thinking the weather
Let it
is
cool
so
off a little
hot.
bit.
Bad.
Any other discussion about this item?
I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at these pictures, but some of these pictures of the flooding and the grass, I mean, I sent Hillary a message today because my neighbor cut his yard and threw all the grass in the street. I mean, I don't know how people expect us to keep the drains clean and keep the floodwaters down if they don't pick up those grass clippings. That is a huge problem in the city, and I see it everywhere. I try to take a picture and send it in, because it's a problem, and we've got to stop people from doing that. And I hope the citizens will join us and pick up the trash when your trash man drops it on the ground, and don't let it sit there and then fall and, gets into the drain and then in the grass clippings. It's just horrible.
Thank you. And what a segue into our next item, 7B. Madam Clerk?
MS4 Stormwater Program Presentation. Give me a second just to get situated.
I didn't know the pictures wouldn't come up. Sorry, Jimmy.
No, that was perfect.
Man,
That was
good
perfect.
intro.
Oh, yeah. I just want y'all to know the MS4 is probably between Aaron, myself, Public Works, and wastewater. So there's like 4 departments that work on this all year. And driving through town like I drive, I took some pictures, and Aaron had some from the floods. So you're gonna see some scary situations.
Well, and we talk about MS4 at the end of just about every meeting, and, encourage participation in our survey, but wanted to just take a minute and explain what MS4 is. So MS4 is a stormwater program that we participate in with Iberia Parish government in the village of Laurelville. Our management team consists of the mayor, Jimmy in compliance, Joe at Public Works, Vince at wastewater, Hillary in the mayor's office handles our hotline, and myself. And together, we're responsible for developing, maintaining, and implementing our stormwater plan. So, what is the program? The program is intended on a much broader scale to improve the nation's waterways by reducing the quantity of pollutants and stormwater picks up and carries into our drains, our ditches, our pipes during stormwater events. This program is very important, especially to us, because we're at the base of everything. So as pollutants and everything wash down from rivers and whatnot, it comes through here. So we need to make sure that we follow our plan and keep our infrastructure clean and straight.
And this is mandated by DEQ.
It is.
It's not just the city saying this, the state has mandated this.
Right, it's a permit that we keep, and in order to keep our permit, we have to meet all of this certain criteria, check all these boxes, and all of us have to participate in one way or another. So, in the southern part of Louisiana, as we continue to grow and expand our naturally occurring green areas that help with the absorption of our stormwater, they're going away, becoming concrete. So we have to implement infrastructure, ditches, storms, drains, pipes to help push the runoff into our lakes, bayous, and streams. On a more local scale, our city's particular program is geared toward keeping our particular infrastructure at optimal levels so that everything moves. We got to keep it free from pollutants, keep up with wastewater sanitation standards, and also a big part of it is educating the public, which we're doing tonight. So in our downtown areas where we do have a lot of concrete, we've tried to implement green areas right here, like little dig outs for trees and plants. We've added potted plants even along the sidewalks just to help with some of that absorption. We of course have drains and drainage that flows down there, but these are just some extra steps that this program asks us to take to help in a more natural way.
And if you notice, along the sidewalks where the drains are, you're gonna see a little medallion that says, from here to the bayou.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's two Boy Scouts that did that. They did that for their Eagle Project. So that's part of this.
Oh, that's great.
Well, and while this is helpful, it's definitely the bulk of our water pushes through our drains. So when there's improper disposal of grass clippings, trash, gross littering, when the rain starts, all of this trash gets pushed into our systems. It blocks our drains, it covers the areas where the water would naturally run, and it stops everything up. So when that happens, the drains don't drain properly, they don't flow properly, and flooding occurs citywide. In an effort to keep our systems flowing, we need help from citizens. We need more, community litter pickup initiations. This thing is just giving me fits, I'm sorry.
No, it's right away.
Oh, man, well, why can't
Because
you say?
It's too smart.
You turned on the.
It's too smart, Dee.
How'd you turn it on?
I have no idea, and I don't know how to turn it on.
Interesting.
Anyway, okay, so what can citizens do? We can join a litter cleanup day in your district or anywhere in the city. You can organize your own cleanup efforts on your own streets, or do something as simple as bend down and pick up the trash that you see on the side of the street. If you see a can or a bottle, pick it up and throw it away, even if you didn't drop it there. You can keep a bag in your car so that you can throw trash and paper away in your car rather than tossing it out of the window. It doesn't sound like much, but if everybody does, you know, one piece, that's still one less piece of trash that's in our drains every single day. And you can also report clogged drains. When you see mud and dirt covering the drains, when you see leaves, trash covering drains, call us. If you notice that something is slow moving, give us a call so we can check it. If you can see here, it looks like a trash can lid is stuck in this one. And in this particular one, it looks like a tire stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do see these things or notice these things on even a light rain day, you can call our community hotline at 337-369-2330 and report it. Also, you can blow grass clippings back into your yard or bag them for yard waste pickup. Once this grass makes its way into the sewer system, it causes mud and just blockages inside of the drainage, and nothing is going to flow. So again, you can call the hotline and report it before it stops everything up and floods your street. And then another thing that you can do that's a lot easier is go on to www.cityofnewiberia.com. You can click on the Public Works Department page and review our MS4 educational resources. You'll see that there's a whole lot more that's entailed in this program that was not listed out in this very short presentation. But there is more that you can do. And then we do have a survey that we're obligated to have up, and it just asks simple questions like, do you live in the city of New Iberia? I think there's one about how would you rate the system, and do you blow your grass clippings into the street? Just simple little things like that that we're required to participate in.
That's awesome.
Are there any questions about the program?
Is there a fine for grass clippings being in the road?
Is there a what?
A fine? Like,
Yes, I believe there is.
Hillary said there wasn't, that she just sends a letter.
Oh, okay.
What we did at the previous council, we knew we were having problems with that. We set in motion that people turn people in. We're assuming right now they just don't know any better. And the city of New Iberia, Hillary, through her work, sends a letter out asking them to blow their clippings back in the yard. We thought we would try to educate people for a while, same reason we're doing these things. At some point, that might be an ordinance that we come up with, but that will be a very hard one to enforce. So we were trying to educate people instead of fine people to get them to realize that they're causing their own problem on their own street.
The next thing is a shame on you door hanger.
That's it.
Yard sign.
Lord have mercy, but I have fun.
Well,
I did have another question. I saw the tires as well. Now, I know that we're able to have 4 tires for bulk waste pickup at a time in front of the home. If there's more, there's 5, what happens? They just don't pick it up?
Exactly.
none of them?
And they
You're
keep-
gonna
and they
see
keep
in the
track of
next section.
Oh.
keep track of it, and tires are one of our biggest problems. They're costing us thousands and thousands of dollars, okay? We had an issue, I'm gonna just tell them about it.
Go ahead.
Republic donates us, no good deed goes unpunished. Republic donates a dumpster, we do our city cleanup that we're very proud of, our first one this term, okay, well, we're all good. Republic has a switch in our rep, so it took longer, we called and said, pick up the dumpster. It took about 2 weeks for them to come pick the dumpster up. They go to pick the dumpster up, I get a call and get photos today that the dumpster is now full of tires. So it has probably 100 tires in it that someone has gone and dumped.
Wow.
Well, guess what I have to do? It's not Republic's fault. They gave us a free dumpster.
Yeah.
I have to call the tire people who have the contract with the state. I have to pay through the city's funds $2 a tire for them to come and fish out 100 tires so that a Republic can take their dumpster.
Oh, my goodness.
So, tire issues are never ending.
It's 2 1/4 a
It's 2
time.
1/4. Joe had a budget to pick up trash just arbitrarily where we thought we would need to, or someone did the wrong thing. He blew that budget halfway through the year. In June, he was out of money. And the bulk of it is all going to tires. My police department is actively trying to bust some people, and I will pay to put them on the front of the newspaper and right up here the minute I can catch somebody just to make an example out of them. Because that is one of our biggest problems in every district, in every part of town, is that, who, why, speculate whatever you want, but they are dumping huge quantities of tires in every district.
So there's a fine for tires?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
So,
If I catch you, you're going to jail.
okay.
so what if
Will I
I'm,
press charges? Oh, hell yeah.
what am
I'm sorry.
what if I'm a home, I just want to understand the process. If I'm a homeowner and for whatever reason, I've accumulated 10 tires, what do I do? How do I get rid of them?
The contract that I have allows 5 tires, that's 4 tires and spare. 5 tires once a year for that
Okay.
homeowner. So if your neighbor's really cool, I guess
You
you
need a
could
friend.
go, you have, put 5 at your neighbors, because that would count for the one time. When I first got in office, I rolled some tires in front of some people's house and said, hey, can I put these tires here for them to pick up? But I had to quit doing that.
But
Anyway.
if the homeowner has 5 more tires, can they pay the $225?
They'll have to go, and I don't know if a tire place will do that. In other words, the
Without
tire-
selling a tire, I don't know if
Yeah,
they'll
if
do
you're
it.
not, they only pay for the tires that they sell.
Right.
And then I have issues with that. There's a big lawsuit going on that the companies that pick the tires up are charging the tire companies more than what their contract is with the state.
Right.
And so they're kind of saying,
It's
yeah,
all-
the state pays me $2 something a
They're-
tire or
They're
whatever.
calling it a hauling fee.
Yeah, but I want $2 more a tire. Well, if that tire company's not collecting that from their customers and
They
they're
have to
just
pay 'em.
collecting the state fee, we have a big issue in town
Yeah.
at one location because of that.
That would be across the state.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it possible, and I don't know, if we have these type of facilities here, is it possible for us to take these tires and grind them up into stuff that we can,
We don't have any, there's no one around here, because believe me, we would be hauling them tires. That would
Yeah.
fix our problems. I wish there was.
because some, like in Atlanta, they would break them up and then they would put them in parks?
Oh, we just used some at Paul's project. The backfill of the city slips behind Rodriguez Park is tires.
Okay.
But they're shredded up. I mean, we couldn't
Right.
do that ourselves, but no, I wish, because I looked into that and said, where are these people out of? But nowhere close to that we could make a deal.
Okay, because
And
that
I'm
would
hearing, I
have been
talked to
great.
other mayors, and tires have become, ever since the state put those fees in, people are just, and you have little bitty small mechanics, little bitty small tire shops, and they just breaking the rules. I mean,
Right. Okay, just trying to see if we had.
all
an
those tires
alternative.
can't be coming from somebody's house.
For clarification, 5
Let
per
Eric-
year.
5 per year, and they keep track.
Okay.
Don't go put 5 more, because they won't pick them up.
Do they have to call somebody?
No, when you put the 5 tires out, it's part of Pelicans, or before that it was Gordon's
Okay,
contract.
okay,
But they do keep track of that, because if you put 5 more, they'll.
They won't pick them up.
No,
And
they won't.
you're gonna see in the pictures I have in the next clip.
All right,
okay.
get it, Jimmy. See if we can get
That
this one
was,
without.
that was one of the
The
big,
hearing.
big issues we had.
That was hearing impairment.
Closed caption.
Closed captioning, thank you. Weird.
Now, one of the things, and I've been getting a lot of calls about it, people are stacking their yard waste and trash next to the telephone pedestal, next to the telephone pole. Well, Pelicans can't get close enough to pick it up, because then they're gonna hit the pole or damage the box. You gotta put it at least 3 feet away. So that's why I'm asking residents to put the trash away from those type of things. Your fence, if you got a fence in the front yard and it's against the fence, they're not gonna pick it up. So you gotta put it at least 3 feet away. Go ahead. A garbage can, that's garbage, that's household garbage. They will not pick up that can. It needs to go in the receptacle that's provided. If you need an extra receptacle, you can purchase one, call City Hall.
Yes.
And they will get you another can. That can will not be picked up.
Seen that a
If
lot.
you need a third can, please call and get one. Because that litter's going in the trash. When you put everything at the road, it's supposed to be in a container. If a plastic bag is what you're using, that's not a container.
And we're having a huge problem, and it's mostly rent houses, and I don't know if it's the tenant leaving, if it's the landlord cleaning after. That happens way too often all over town. They put it, sometimes they at least bag it in plastic bags, and then you have people who come and tear open the bags to rifle through the bags to see if anything's good, and then it ends up.
There is an ordinance that says you
I know.
can't do that. So
I
if
know.
y'all see them doing it, get a license plate number, get a picture, whatever.
So if it's in front of a house, a rental property, can we just turn it in as junk in front of the property and then the property owner gets charged or whatever?
That's something that we're heading toward. If you remember, we kind of redid the trees recently through the ordinance committee, where there were some instances that they put trees that were too big for the contract. And we had to pick them up, we could charge the homeowner. We are probably heading that way with some other things as well. I don't think we have that in place right now with
I don't think so.
this at the road. Could be an option, because it is busting our budget. It's costing a lot of money.
Yeah, and
And the
it's,
overflow is causing drainage issues, and, it's.
not to mention, it's so
Compounding
unsightly,
process.
right?
Unsightly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so unsightly, yeah.
And of course, that happens on days I'm riding around with a developer. Never ending, and so I have to hurry up and turn the corner, you know?
Yeah,
Tell them a joke and get out of there, whatever.
go ahead.
So bad.
Now, see that picture? You got garbage, you got tires. You got plastic bags, what's in the plastic bags? More garbage? They won't pick that up.
Right.
Because if it's garbage, it can't go in the construction landfill.
Right.
So that's why a lot of that stuff is getting left behind. They don't know what's in the bags. Go ahead. There's a pile of tires.
Yeah.
That was the one about a railroad
Yeah.
track we picked up.
Gas tanks.
Yeah.
They won't pick up gas tanks. That's another big one. And when one pile starts, look out. It's a magnet.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So our litter education budget,
Yeah,
thank
See
God
that,
we
see
have
that
it.
pole?
Yes, well,
That
that's what
won't
I'm
get
saying.
picked up.
Right.
It's gotta be
Yeah.
away from the pole.
And I feel like we handle our education program first, and then we ramp up our ordinances in some kind of ways if people are still not gonna listen. But to make the effort and do the education piece first, and then through the ordinance committee that Deidre chairs and that everybody contributes to, we find some new ways to get creative in penalizing people because, we're not gonna have a choice. I mean, this is not the neighborhood any of us wanna live in.
And when Freddie's taking a developer around town and they see that,
Absolutely, I mean, it's
economic
horrible.
development, gone. Grass in the street,
Yep. That's it, Jimmy.
that's it.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank both of y'all for your hard work. This is something
Yeah.
we have to continue to do to try to educate people. All right, now we move on to Councilman's remarks, and Brooke, I will start with you.
Okay, I just want to let everyone know that I will be out the office, so to speak, starting this Friday, and I'll come back on Tuesday. So if you have any questions or any concerns, call Mr. Ricky. I'm joking. Call City Hall. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilman Lou.
Man, I want to give my condolences to a television personality. He stood up for social issues. Brother Takuna, he did a show that dealt with African American issues. He passed away this week. I don't remember the day. I just want to give my condolences to his family, his friends, and people that follow this show. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
So-
Councilman Tim Gosselaar.
So obviously, I'm just been notified I'm taking care of Brooks' issues for a week. No problem. That's what I'm here for.
It's just like 4 days.
No, but no. Seriously, I think, no, just a brief, I think, we in exciting times for our community with the amount of revenue and unforeseen things that we're gonna be doing in our community. And I'm really proud to be part of this leadership team because I think we're gonna make some good things happen for our constituents in our city that's gonna make us all proud of. So let's keep up the good work and working together.
Councilman Ledda.
And I just want to say, on August the 5th, the new voter registration cards were mailed out as promised. Please, everybody, take a look at your registration card if you received one, because it affects more than the people that were going to sites that were closed. It changed some sites, some people's polling place to just another one. For some unknown reason, they just went from one polling place that's still open to another polling place that's open. So please be careful and read your card so you'll know where to go in order to vote on, in October. And when it comes up again, redistricting, please be mindful of all the things that have happened this time, and don't let them happen next time, because it's very confusing to everybody. And of course, next year is going to change again. And voting is very, very important. It's very serious, and that's the way everybody should take it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reed.
So I'd first like to say that we all need to really make sure we're taking COVID serious. Make sure you're wearing your mask. My neighbor died last Saturday from COVID. He was a couple of years older than me, and he's not the only one. We had quite a few people. I don't know if you guys are watching the stats, but 122 people have died recently of COVID. This is serious, so I'm asking people, please wear your mask, especially if you're indoors. The second thing is we have rescheduled our house painting event, which is going to be held on September 11th. We're going to start at 9 a.m. It is the 3 little shotgun houses on Ann Street. We're going to have them washed a few days before to make sure they're clean, and then we hope that we don't have to do a lot of scraping, and then we'll do the painting. So we're really excited about that. We think that that's going to really help when the neighbors see 3 houses really nicely painted, bright colors that actually, and then we're going to also landscape the front so that they can see what the community could look like with just a little effort from all of us. So please come out, please join us. We, would love any help that you're willing to offer. We're excited about taking this next step. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any remarks tonight. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank y'all.
We're good.